ever, backwards never.
Forward ever, backwards never.
Three.
Forward ever, backwards never.
Forward ever, backwards never. Forward ever, backwards never.
Forward ever, backwards never.
Surprise! It's your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. No, really, say that thing out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. We are not going backwards. We refuse to go backwards. So we are pushing one another forward into greatness, into a better quality of life. Hey, good people. Hey, I feel like I ain't seen y'all in a minute, and it's only been a week. Yes, yes, yes. I don't have no announcements at this time, but surprise, I know y'all like that intro. So I just want you to just stay tuned. We are being creative. We are coming up with different things. And I definitely want to show my appreciation for your commitment, for always showing up, and for taking the pledge, healing 1 million people, one person at a time. But as you know, as I always say, I'm starting with me. And I know you are starting with yourself. If you haven't already, go phone a friend, tell a friend to bring a friend and come on this evening. So without further ado, you know I like to maximize every second of every minute in this hour. So I will not delay any further. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate the early birds for coming. Y'all know that is my favorite part of this evening, to be in the chat chatting with you. Last week it was a pleasure to be in the chat, and I know y'all was like, how's she doing that? I will be doing that every now and then because I want to be a part of the chat, because y'all be chatting up a storm. But in any further, I do before I bring this person up, because I don't want to delay, I want to maximize every second in this hour. And of course, we have been talking about forgiveness and reconciliation, understanding that there is a difference. What we all are charged with is ourselves, and making sure that we are aware of the decisions that we are making that's in the best interest of ourselves. And so we understand, now that we understand the importance of forgiveness and what that is for, and now that we understand the power of reconciliation, and understanding what and or who you are being reconciled with is a big deal, because it is not for everybody. In a sense, when we are talking about the collective, but as an individual, we all are reconciled to ourselves and to the Father, depending upon what your faith base is. Um, so without further ado, I've had the pleasure to meet a young lady, and she has an incredible story. And on purpose and with purpose, I did not really want to talk to her before. Y'all know how I do. I don't really want to ask a lot of questions. I don't want to have too much to say before we press go. That is with great intentions, because I want it to be raw. I want it to be the conversation to be authentic. And because we're talking about real life, we're talking about people's hearts, and it is important to um to be thoughtful in that process as you are doing it. So I'm going to ask that you keep in mind, while we are here, we are healing out loud. This is the community where we accept one another for who we are, with the hopes that we can make one another better, because there's some things in me that I lack that you have, and because you unselfishly are willing to heal out loud, you give me that thing that I need to motivate me, to keep me going. In other words, we need one another. And so with that said, I'm gonna bring this young lady up. She has an incredible story. Um, and one thing that I'm learning in this process, that it is more to the individual than just their story. Sometimes we get lost in translation in our own thought process. When we hear people, we get captivated because of our focus. And on tonight, I want you to put the focus on you. I want you to hear you. I want you to go inward. Because that's how we grow, that's how we learn. And understanding that a process is a process, and how my process looks, your process may not look like that. But nonetheless, we're going through a process. And that's why we all can say forward ever, backwards never. But because I was blessed tremendously by this young lady, I know you all will be blessed too. So we're going to open our minds. We are, get your pen and pad ready. Put your questions in the chat, your comments. We are celebrating on tonight as well. We're not just having a difficult conversation. We are celebrating each other's growth and development, because that is what we do. And so, without further ado, I'm going to bring this young lady up, and I am going to ask this young lady to introduce herself. I could do it, I was going to do it, but I realized I can't introduce no one better than they can do for themselves. And so I'm going to remove myself out of the way. How Def, I see you in the building, and I am going to bring this beautiful soul up. Let's welcome her, Miss Tanika, to the floor. Yes, yes. How are you?
Good in yourself. It's Takia.
Yes, yes, Mr. Kia. Yes.
Hello,
Can you?
everyone. My name is Takia. I'm the CEO of Excellent Heart Home Care Services. I'm soon to be an assisted living facility owner. I'm a mom of 7. I'm 43 years old. I'll be 44, of course, next year. Um, I'm coming on to share my story. I met Asabi. We met just recently. I want to say actually probably a couple of days ago when I had shared my story with her. So I was asked to come and speak with you all to share my story, and hopefully this will help everyone that is going through a time where they need healing. That I'm most certainly sure you'll be able to. I think it's important to heal, because if you don't heal, you will not know your strength. You won't know you, and you don't know who's helping you heal. And I want to say, God helped me heal. Um, my backhand story is I met my husband about 7 years ago, and I thought that was my forever. You know, when we first met, we it was like we knew each other for years. Um, I want to say, first of all, before I go into that, I want to say healing is growing pains. Uh, First is the pain, and then you grow from it. I want to say how to start this off, because this is my first time. So just please bear with me, because I have not told this story in front of a lot of people. But I'm going to start off with saying, again, I met my husband about 7 years ago. When I met him, I thought he was my forever. When we met, we was talking like we knew each other for years. Um, the conversation just led to, it was like we wanted the same thing. We was just speaking, and we was speaking the same language. We wanted the same thing, and I was like, "Dang, that's crazy." And of course, we had already had each other phone number, because he had tinted my car windows for me. And from there, we started dating. As we started dating, we was getting to know one another. I never introduced him to my kids. It was a while before I introduced him to my kids. And we was dating for a while, and as we was dating, we started planning our life out together. At that time, I had 6 kids. My older kids, they older, they can do whatever for themselves. You know, I didn't need a babysitter for anybody. He didn't have a kid, so we talked about giving him one kid. I was like, one kid, that's it. My two's getting tired after that. We talked about merge. We talked about purchasing a home. Everything we talked about, we did. And I say this to say, because we be thinking we know people, and we do not be knowing them. People really be hiding behind a mask. Make a long story short, I didn't know I was sleeping with the enemy, because he became an enemy that I did not know. Now, you couldn't tell me that wasn't my husband. You couldn't tell me everything was just not right. Everything was going smooth. Everything was going good. Everything we said we was going to do, we did everything that we said we was going to do. Uh, he ended up going to trucking school. I ended up holding everything down. I ended up being pregnant. I was holding everything down. I was working. I've been on my job for like 16 years then. I was on my job. And I had everything. I had everything when I first met him. Uh, had my own house, my own 2 cars. I had my own money. Been on my job for years. I just had everything. So I came with the table, the whole table. Um, Everything was going good. I ended up talking him into going to truck driving school. He went to trucking school. I held everything down while he did that. He wanted to go buy his own truck for trucking to start his own business. I let him do that. I'm working, but I'm good because I'm making good money, and we a team. I thought, and after a while, COVID came. I went back to work after maternity leave. We done planned the baby. We done planned the baby. We done planned the wedding. We done planned buying a house. Everything happened. Everything fine. I goes back to work off of maternity leave. I get off of work one day. I drove his truck to work. I get off of work one day and I get to his truck. It was a whole bunch of sticky notes on the truck. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I never gave it no reaction outside of the truck. I just threw my head back and started laughing, took the sticky notes off. I got in the truck. I called him. Make a long story short, I'm like, look, I just got off. I get to the truck, the sticky notes on the truck. He was like, yeah, we want to talk about it when you get home. I was like, no, let's talk about it now. He was like, no, I'm about to leave my mother's house. We're going to talk about it when you get here. So I get there and he just like, listen, he was like, you remember the girl that showed up at my shop or whatever? He was like, she said that she was pregnant, the baby mine, this, and the third. And I'm like, oh God. And at this point, I really don't know how to feel about it. I'm feeling numb. I just don't know, And I didn't know what to feel at that time. I just didn't know what to feel that day, no other time at all. I know I was hurt, but I wasn't feeling it. It was just like, because I didn't know how old the baby was then, I didn't know how it happened, occurred, or anything. So I think at that point when I heard what was going on, I didn't want to talk. He knew to stay out my way or whatever the case may be. So we didn't talk no more that day. That broke my whole spirit because I got off and I'm happy. I'm walking to the truck like I'm off tomorrow. I'm going home to my family. Very family oriented. Love my kids to death. I have 7 awesome kids. I get to the truck and I'm just like, I'm happy I'm off. But then when I got home and heard that, it was like, okay, kind of turned upside down. But I just didn't know how to feel because I wasn't feeling nothing. Because I'm like, is this real or not? So Friday morning, he was over the road now and I'm back at work and we on the phone talking like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I asked him, I said, so when was the last time you spoke to her? He said, she beeping through now. I said, click it in. Clicked it in. Make a long story short, because I'm not going to waste this whole time talking about it. But make a long story short, stalking. So I started being stalked, harassed, playing on my phone, ended up having to go to court for the girl and all this other kind of stuff. He said he didn't know if the baby was his. He was willing to get a paternity test. He did a paternity test. Come to find out the baby was his. Okay. And I'm deciding what to do. And he was all crying like, I don't want to lose my family. I want my family. I just cannot do this without you. I want my family. I'm willing to go to therapy. I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to keep my family together. And it became a whole disaster after that. But then it died down afterwards because I ended up having to interfere and let her know, like, look, I'm not one of these little girls. I'm not going to play no games with you. What is it that you need or want? I'm trying to figure out how to get this whole thing situated because if that's his kid, I'm going to be his wife. Because at this point, we engaged. So the baby was his or whatever. It was a lot back and forth to court and all of that harassment and all that other kind of stuff. So we finally ended up buying a house. We moved in the house. We then had the wedding and everything. Everything is back to normal. So during COVID time, I was trying to figure out what kind of business I wanted to run. I knew it had to be something in the healthcare field because I worked in the healthcare field all my life. I knew I wanted to work in the healthcare field since I was 7 years old. I started working in the healthcare field when I was 18, so I was trying to find my way in what type of business to start. I knew it had to be something with taking care of the elderly or sick people. So one day I was on Facebook and something came across like home care, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, that's something I want to do. I could do that. I could do that. So I ended up going to my husband, asking him, I said, can you give me half of the money to my business? And he was like, what kind of business? So I told him, he was like, you sure that's what you want to do? I was like, yeah. So he gave it to me. I ended up doing my paperwork and stuff. And here in Maryland, you have to wait a year for your home care agency license. So I was working on the anesthesia team at University of Maryland. I've been at the hospital for now, at this time, it was 17 years. I've been at the hospital. And finally, my license come in March of 2023. My license come, my home care agency license come. And now I'm excited. I start doing stuff for my business, like getting brochures and everything. So this is the good part right here, because that whole situation just brought me to everything. So this is the part I'm just telling y'all, the beginning of the part where what really happened. So basically, what happened was he ended up going behind my back, sleeping with another woman, and knew that she was pregnant. The same time I was pregnant. Never mentioned anything to me. I never knew anything about it because I didn't never ever suspect, because he was doing everything that he was supposed to do as a fiance husband. He was doing everything he was supposed to do for home. You couldn't. I don't even know how I missed all of this, but I know how I missed it. I was too caught up in everything that he was doing for me. I just wasn't paying attention. But this is the part right here. So as I got my license, we went out, celebrated, and we was having a conversation. And he said, you know, I married you to cater to you. And I was like, okay, what that's supposed to mean? That meant I'm supposed to just work my job, sit back, and let him do the thing, whatever he want to do, and I just go clock in. That's what I got from it. So got past that. So in July of 2023, I was on vacation for my birthday. I woke up one morning. I sat up in my bed. As soon as I sat up in my bed, I heard something like, you don't have to go back to work if you don't want to. You can run your home care agency full time. And I started looking around my bedroom like, that's God. I said, that's God. That's God talking to me. So I said, okay. I said, okay. So August the 2nd, I went back to work off of vacation. I got off of work at 6:30. I walked to the garage, got in my truck. I'm driving down the road and the music was on. Something said, turn the music off. So I turned the music off and I started talking to God and praying to him the way my grandmother taught me how to pray. So I said, God, I said, if that was you telling me that it was okay to resign from my job and run my home care agency full time, I said, I need some rain tonight or tomorrow. I prayed and I said, thank you. I said, I know sometimes I be missing the signs. I said, please forgive me. Just work with me. Give me some time. I'm going to get better with it. So I ended that out. The next morning, I go back to work. This was like after 11:40 in the morning. And I walked out of my office to the back of the OR going to OR 3. One of my coworkers was in OR 1. It was just us two back there. She just seen me go in OR 3. Soon as I get in OR 3, she was calling my name, yelling my name out. And I ended up answering. I was like, yes. She said, did you just walk through all that water? I said, what water? So when I backtracked and went to go see what she was talking about, the ceiling was pouring water like it was raining outside. So I just stood there and I was just looking and I kept saying, say it ain't so, say it ain't so, say it ain't so. I was like, that's God, that's God. But she was calling my name and I'm in a daze. I could hear, but I didn't hear. And I was like, that's God, that's God, that's God. He answered me, he answered me. She was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Help me clean this water up. So I was about to tell her, but I didn't tell her what was going on. So I ended up helping her whatever. So I ended up calling my husband, telling him what happened. He ain't care. He ain't had no excitement, no nothing. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna call you back because at this point I don't need your validation. God gave me all the validation I needed. So I just said thank you when I prayed to God. The next week, he said, I got something even better for you. He sent me my very first big client. And I said, look at that. I said, God is showing out for me. I said, thank you. So now I'm just like, all right, I got the client. What I'm going to do? Because now I can't work this client myself because I work 3 days a week. So I have 5 daughters. One is only 5. I had 2 sons and 5 daughters. My oldest daughter is a registered nurse. My other 3 daughters are certified nursing assistants. So I called them and I told them what was going on and what happened. I said, we're going to have to flip flop and work this case till I figure out what to do. So I prayed to God and I was sitting there talking to God and a light bulb went off. Something said, put your 2 weeks in, withdraw your money out your 401k and invest that money into your business. So I did that. And I told him, I was talking to him as a wife, like, look, hey, I'm going to have to resign from this job. I want to resign. I'm tired. God said it's over. I don't need this job no more. I can work for myself. And he was like, I mean, if that's how you feel, I mean, I was like, why you don't, like, where's the excitement at? Like, what's going on with you? He was like, I mean, I'm just saying, if that's what you want to do, then I was like, all right. At this point, I just gave up. I'm like, you know what? I got to do my own thing. So things started going really fast for me, moving, like just going good. God sending me everything I needed. One day I was on the phone and I just told him one morning I was on the phone with him. This was the first day of school in 2023 of August. I was talking to him and I said, well, the girls get out of school. I got a set of twin girls. They was the last ones to get out of school. I said, the girls get out of school early today. I said, they don't have to stay in school all day because they had majority of their credits, so they don't have to stay in school all day. And he was like, oh, okay. I want to say 2 hours after that, my kids called me. I was in the cafeteria with one of my coworkers eating lunch, and my kids called me and was like, it's funny now because I can laugh about it now. I can really laugh about it, but it wasn't funny then. My kids called and was like, Mom, we just seen him come from out this lady house around the corner from where we live at. I said, okay. So I'm not even thinking that my kid's there and I'm all the way downtown. But I text him like, really? I said, around the corner from where I laid my head at, he called trying to hide everything and all of that. I'm like, don't even call me. It's nothing to talk about because I know my kids worship the grounds I walk on. My kids love me. Long as I'm happy, my kids is happy. My kids is not going to call me and lie about something like that. So my kids left back out the house and they went to the house that he came from out of, took a picture of it and sent it to me. So I get off of work and I go knock on the door. I know I was going to go knock on the wrong door, but I heard the little girl ask her father, Daddy, why she about to knock on our door? And I heard him say, I don't know, but I'm about to find out. When I heard him say that, I turned around and walked down the steps. And I walked to him and I said, hey, do you know such and such? And he was like, you got a picture of him? Me still being cool, not even being respectful, not even wanting to show a picture of him. I was standing beside a truck that looked like his, and he was like, I said, he drive a truck like this. He said, well, big black tires, ride a Harley Davidson. I said, yeah. He said, oh, yeah, he been around here all the time. He said, but it's not this house, it's the house next door. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to go knock on the door. He said, it's a party house. I said, I don't care. I'm just going, I'm not going over there to be rude, nasty, disrespectful or nothing. So I go knock on the door. I run the doorbell. He said she had a rain cam. I said, it's fine. So her son comes to the door. And I said, hey, your mom home? He said, yes. I said, can she come to the door? He said, sure. So he said, mind the door. She said, who is it? And he asked me, he said, what's your name? I said, Kia. He turned around and looked at her and said, Kia. She said, I don't know nobody named Kia. Clearly the son knew what was going on because he turned around and was like, Mom, come to the door. So she comes to the door and I said, how you doing? I said, my name Kia. I said, do you know such and such? And she was like, yeah, I know him ever since y'all moved around here. We bought the house. We've been living around there for 2 years now. So clearly they have been dealing with each other. I said, are y'all intimate? Y'all dealing with each other? Are y'all in a relationship? I said, I'm just asking because that's my husband and I want to know how to move from this day on. She said, I think we need to ask your husband that. I went just like this. I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. And I just walked up the steps I got in my truck and I went home. I went in there and I was talking to my kids and I was telling my kids, I was like, listen, this is why I tell y'all, take your time. I don't want y'all dealing with none of these guys out here. Honestly, I was like, because some of them is just not right at all. So I'm talking to my kids and he come up the steps and he was trying to shut the bedroom door. I was like, you don't got to shut the bedroom door because he's a liar, he's a manipulator, he's a narcissist. And at this point, I didn't even want to hear nothing because I already knew who he was. God was showing me everything I needed to see and know. So he kind of got mad because I didn't want to hear, and we got into a big argument, and that argument was really nasty. I never argue in front of my kids at all, but at this point, I think because I was so hurt, and I wasn't the more aggressive one, but he was still running his mouth, and I was already just upset, so I was up in his face like, "What you want to do?" And he was like, "Girl, you better go sit down somewhere." So that part was over with. The next week, this is when God said, and I'm saying this and telling this because sometimes God is letting us know that if a person is not for us, he is going to show us. And if we do not be obedient to God and listen to what God is trying to tell us, he will snatch everything from us. And I kept hearing, I've been receiving downloads, but I was confused about it because I wasn't for sure. And I'm like, that's my husband. God don't like broken homes. So I was confused, but I was kind of saying stuff, but I wasn't. Like I walked in the house one day and heard him talking to somebody on the phone, and I heard him say, "I love you too." But he tried to say it was his aunt. I knew it wasn't his aunt because him and his aunt wasn't even speaking. So after that, the next week, I walked in. Now, because it's like you sleep down the basement, I'm gonna be upstairs. That was that. And the next week I walked. This is how now God's showing me everything I need to know. Because God said, I done already showed your kids something. I want to see what you're going to do. So then next week I walked in the house. I went to go wash my hands. I never touched the mortgage statement. Now I was putting our mortgage was $2,750. I was putting $800 towards the mortgage, paying the cable bill, water bill, gas and electric bill, majority of all the food, the household supplies, and taking care of your daughter. Something told me open the mortgage statement. I opened the mortgage statement. The mortgage statement. Now looking at it, back haven't been paid from May all the way up to September when I opened it. Mortgage backed up $13,666. I'm like 66, 666. I said okay. I'm like, so where my part of the money been going at? Well, I kind of didn't say nothing to him at that time, but in the midst of it, I'm waiting for my money for the 401k to come so that I can invest it in my business. But I was still good because I still had money saved up and I was still getting paid for my job because I now resigned. And everything was working out with my business and everything was flowing. But my first client was a insurance claim, and that take a minute. So um, that was another thing God showed me, and stuff just wasn't right then. And I'm still trying to just be cordial because I'm trying to figure out for these last few months. I'm just trying to be cordial, trying to figure out what do I really need to do because I'm like, this is just not a boyfriend, it's my husband. So I was really confused, and at this time it's just like everything. The signs is there. I would go when I go in the house. My stomach would feel upset. I wouldn't want to eat. I would really have bad headaches. I couldn't really sleep. It came to a point where I started sleeping with the door locked because I'm like, now I just don't know what to expect. Because for one, when we got in that argument, I called him out and I just said how I felt about everything that I seen and was going through. He even had his mother, his sister, and them. He had everybody lying for him, with the baby mother, lying, talking about the baby mother was a problem and all of this other kind. Just made it seem like the girl was a problem. She didn't know who the baby father was and all of that. So now I'm learning, and now we into December. And one morning I just woke up and I was like, I looked myself in the mirror, December the 28th, and I said, you know what? I was like, kid, you gotta get up out of here. I said, I know you don't want to feel the pain, but you gonna feel it. You either take the pain or you stay here, get mistreated, hurt, and continue to hurt yourself also while you giving another person power to hurt you. So at this point, I just went, and that morning I went and I drove to the courthouse. I was crying driving to the courthouse and everything because I'm like, I just can't believe it. I was married to a narcissist the whole time. I never knew the word narcissist because I never had to use it. I never said that word, never knew about the word, never even knew what narcissist meant until I met him. And his baby mother called him out on it. He came to me one day and asked me about it. Like, she called me a narcissist. Do you think I'm a narcissist? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know what narcissist meant, but I'm like, No. But when he walked away, I Googled it on my phone to see what it meant. And I was like, oh, wow. Then that's when it was like, surprise. So I went and I filed for the divorce. And I still kept my house. I still had my house. Luckily, I didn't let my house go. My oldest kid stayed at my house. My oldest daughter is 29. My son, he's 27. Well, yeah, he's 27. Then I had my 25-year-old. Then I had my 22. My twins, they 19, and then my 5-year-old. So the oldest one stayed at the house, at my house, and the youngest three went with me. But my kids they had keys. They was always able to come to my house. They was welcome to my house because I'm never not gonna let my kids come where I'm at. So, but he did a backhand thing with the house too when we went for closing. He did something some way where my name didn't end up on the mortgage or the deed, which I'm kind of happy it didn't. But I went and I filed for the divorce December the 28th. The papers came in the mail at my other house on the 2nd. I took those papers and took them to the house, just went and got my clothes, and I just left. Took me and my kids and we left. I got out of there 20 minutes before he got back. Before he got there. But I kept telling him, I was like, one day you're gonna come home and we're gonna be gone. I kept telling him. I guess he thought I would never leave. So he called me right after I got out of there, 20 minutes after I got out of there, and he asked me, he was like, hey, what you doing? I said, nothing right now. And he was like, so you just gonna leave me with the bills and all of this? I was like, you don't need me. I was like, you better get that girl around the corner to come around there with you. I was like, I gave you just what you wanted. I'm out of your life. You wanted it to be free. But he had went to one of his homeboys. Me and one of his homeboys' wives were really close. We still cool. And she called me one day and told me that her husband told him that he came down to the shop and was talking to him and said he wanted it to be free. I said he could have told me that, but of course he denied it. I left, and when I left from there, I ended up getting a therapist. I was hurt then. I was hurt because I thought that was my husband, but clearly I was married to myself, and I was in the marriage by myself, basically. I think what happened was he seen me as stability, and he was like, "I'm going to marry her because I know she's family oriented. I know if anything go wrong, she know how to take care of business. She gonna make sure the bills paid. She just stability, and I see her for that. I'm going to marry her. That's what I feel like. I don't think he don't even know what he like. He don't even know him. So when I left, I did get a therapist, and I didn't have no boundaries set at all. And we were still kind of like going back and forth or whatever because he felt like I left him. He felt like I used him because he gave me $2,500 towards my business. I was giving you more than what you gave me. I never even really asked him for anything. So I ended up getting a therapist, and my therapist was just like, the first thing we need to do is set boundaries. That's the first thing we need to work on because you don't have no boundaries set. So I was hurt when I left. I was so hurt that I couldn't cry in front of my kids because my kids worry about me a lot. And I just wanted that time to myself to let out everything I needed to. So I would wait till my kids be down. I put my baby girl to bed. Rain in the cold was what healed me. And God healed me. But my comfortable place healing was outside on my porch wrapped in a blanket. I would go outside and I would just sit and cry to God and just talk to God. I could hear God telling me every time, it's going to be okay. You did what you needed to do. And he would just give me downloads. And I started having dreams of like, God was giving me, I was getting vivid dreams. Like I had a dream that he was sleeping in a van. I had a dream that I FaceTimed him one night. One day I FaceTimed him and he was in a hospital with a woman in the bed, the baby in the bassinet. And basically everything I was saying came true and was like everything I was saying, it was true. He was denying everything. But my healing journey started when I got my therapist and when I left the home. It was hard. It hurted. I didn't think I was going to be able to get through it, but I leaned on God. I don't even think I ever leaned on God as much as I leaned on him now. I couldn't wait till that pain left. I mean, it was like a stabbing pain. Like like somebody stabbed me. Like I felt stabbed in the back. Like it was like a knife going in and out of my heart. Like I kept saying, I cannot believe somebody. I couldn't believe that he went through all of that, not not wanting to be married to marrying somebody just to say he was married. Like when I say he paid for the wedding and paid majority of the money for the wedding, he paid for horse carriage and all of that, party bus, and not even only that. When I left, it was like he was so upset and real nasty. Like the evilness was coming out of him. Like my parents is deceased, but my parents were really good parents. Like my parents raised me and showed me the way that if they wasn't around, what to do. Um, and it hurt that my parents not here because I was really close to my parents. Like I would go to my parents' house every day. He had his parents. He's dealing with a lot of childhood trauma. And I think because what his mom did to him, he really had a problem with females. Like with the baby mother. Everything that he lied about and said about the baby mother was not that person. And I kind of felt bad, but in some sense I didn't feel bad because she was very disrespectful too. But I understand why she was lied to. He promised her the same everything that we did. He promised her that, and he thought he had her thinking that they was going to get married and do everything that we did. And that girl was like, when I say, I don't know if y'all ever seen Acrimony, but she was acting like Taraji off of Acrimony. Like she was just all really like she was all over the place. Like she was just like she was stalking me at work. She would go past the shop and throw stuff at him. I couldn't understand why, but when I left and I started healing, I was able to put the whole puzzle together. The whole puzzle together. And right now where I'm at on this, I just know that he is getting his karma. God told me he was getting his karma when I was there. I don't wish anything for him. I don't wish no bad for him, but when you gotta take your karma, you gotta take your karma. And like I say, we all got a karma to pay. It may not be you stole from nobody, you hurt anybody. We all have a karma to pay. I had some, and I feel like I dealt with some of his karma because of how he treated his baby mother. And I didn't know though. I didn't know. But we all have a karma to pay, but he's paying, and you can't tell God who to give that karma to at all. So he gotta sit in it. But I think if I didn't get therapy and I didn't sit in it, I don't think I would be right here now telling you all this story. Neither. Back up. They didn't give me no socks. Tell your sister. I'm sorry about that.
It's
So
all right. We love the kids.
um I don't think I would be right here right now. And I know that it's a lot of stuff that he have done behind my back. I don't know all the answers, and at this point, my closure was me leaving and God healing me. God had me sit still, and when I say God had me sit still, because again, I was so into just taking care of home and working. I always knew God was my provider and my protector. I knew that that man had his hand on me all my life, but I never sat still to hear him. And I want to say that I think this was orchestrated. I think God orchestrated this to happen this way because he needed me to sit down. It was some information that he was trying to give me, and I wasn't grasping it. I wasn't getting it. So that was his way of getting my attention with all of that going on. And again, I would say everything that guy have done, that is my daughter father. I don't dislike him. I don't have no ill will feelings towards him. I don't hate him. I don't wish no bad for him. In fact, I will be honest and say I still love him, but not enough to go back to him. Will I ever go back to him? No, I will never go back to him because I know who I am. The first thing is I'm going to hold my accountability because what I did not do, as I was saying, I didn't ask God, was that my husband? I didn't even ask God, can I marry him? Was he my husband, and should I have married him? I didn't get permission from God to marry him. So that's where I messed up at. And I'm glad that I learned that because when I sat there and that sat in and it clicked in my head, now I ask God permission for everything at this point. You might as well say, I swear I asked him because being obedient to God is the best thing you can do. I want to say right now where I'm at now, it's over with the healing part. I will say I'm still healing a little, but I know better. So now I know better. I'm going to always do better. Um, and then I could tell my story. I could tell my story. It's a lot more to it, but I don't want to waste this whole hour on it. But I was married to a narcissist. I married a man that was wearing a mask, hiding behind a mask, pretending to be somebody he was not. He dealt with a whole bunch of
So
women.
let me ask you a question. This is
Hmm.
here's the push.
Hmm.
So today, what is your relationship like with forgiveness?
With forgiveness,
Hmm.
you gotta
As it relates to you.
when it relates to me, forgiveness is forgive the person. Well, forgive whoever wronged you or hurted you. Forgive them so that you can walk away in peace. Because if you don't forgive, you're going to still hold on to it. You still hurt. If you're not forgiving, you're not healed. You're not healed if you're not able to forgive. I forgave. I just won't never forget it. Forget what happened. But for me, it's peace for me. Peace. My peace. Forgiveness is peace for me.
You said something earlier, and I kind of put it in the chat just to make note for myself. And so the question that I have, you said something, not your words, this is just what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in there you lost focus.
Mm-hmm.
And can we go back and talk about what you believe the focus that you lost while you were in it? Because at some point you you were good. You were focused. You were on a mission, and then something happened where you were no longer the main thing was no longer the main thing.
Um, so what happened was, I think for me, I was so when I started my business, I got so deep into my business and I was focused on my business. And that was the part that he didn't like because I was focused on my business. He didn't like that I was focused on my business. Once everything started had moved because things started moving fast for me.
No, not about your business. Being in the relationship.
Oh, and so
In the
because we was doing everything that he was doing everything that I wanted a
yeah.
man to do. So he was doing everything because again for me, I was always the head of the household. I was everything in the household. So when he came along, he was able to cook. He cooked. He was able to fix everything. We was going on dates. We was doing everything, and I think I felt like I was what is the word I'm looking for? I was um I'm gonna just say I didn't think that I needed to look further or dig deep into anything because I thought that that was my husband and I thought that he loved me the way I loved him. So I think I was just missing stuff. I wasn't paying no attention. And then he was a truck driver. So truckmen, they are always going over the road. You never know what they're doing. They could be doing anything, So for me it was like, okay, I thought we was doing everything I thought everything was cool. I didn't even know anything was wrong. I didn't know anything was messed up in the marriage. I was on cloud nine. I don't want to say I was green because I'm not green, but
So someone in the chat said, and this is my thought process. It felt fulfilling and it was validating
it was
everything that he was doing.
yeah, it was.
Do that.
And again, because he would cheer me on. He was cheering me on, and the love was there. Like he was doing everything I wanted him to. He was doing everything I wanted a man to do. Um, I wouldn't say I was blind. I wouldn't say blind. I just didn't think I needed to pay attention because I thought everything was cool. We was doing everything together. So I didn't feel the need to go and check. I didn't feel the need to go and check.
Right.
He was doing that. He was still, and the thing was, I think it was more so because he was just like, um, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, but I'm still gonna make sure I take care of home, so that she wouldn't have anything to worry about or try to figure out or think about or even think that anything is wrong. Because
Right.
again, I didn't think that I needed to go and check and be checking in the driveway of apartment
Somebody.
complexes, apartment complexes, thinking I need to check and see if my husband's truck is somewhere parked in the parking lot somewhere. We lived in single family homes around the corner, and it was townhouse, apartment complexes and townhouses right there. So I drive past there every day, going to work, going to the store, going wherever I'm going. I didn't think to be like, oh, I think I need to go check that. I didn't think that because, again, he was doing everything. So if you in a relationship and everything is good, you're not going to think to, you know, look for anything. I didn't feel like I had to.
Right.
Again, he had me on cloud
Right.
nine. I definitely was on cloud nine. I was on cloud
Right.
nine, But I think for the most part right now, where I'm at, I'm thankful for being where I'm at now because
Right.
that healing journey that I've been on, I know who I am now. I know who I am. I know what not to do again. And I know how to handle
Right.
situations before putting myself in situations. So it's
Right.
a you know better now, so you're gonna do better for
Right.
me.
One, I just want to say thank you. I
You
want to
welcome.
thank you for again your courage, and it definitely is a privilege and an honor to have you share um your strength, your tenacity, your relationship with God. It sounds like a love story, the true love story between
Mm-hmm.
you and God. And that's what I hear. What I heard as you were talking, just how you relate, how you were in what some would define as um a toxic relationship that
Mm-hmm.
is clothed in something else to appear different than what it really is. And going through the process and listening to you, it just sounds um like a love story, like how just using that particular journey in your life and how it connected you to strengthen your relationship with God. That's amazing to me. And that's the captivating part for me, that now you understand and you can hear for yourself the voice of God. You can see for yourself through your own personal experience. Nobody ain't got to tell you because you have experienced it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have ears to hear and your heart is open to receive. And so I just thank you for healing with us on sharing your healing with us on this evening. It is a big deal. There is a woman out there that is struggling, that feels like they are unworthy. She feels like or he feels like I am unworthy to get out of this situation. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a relationship. It could be anything, any
Mm-hmm.
kind of situation.
Yeah.
We we're kind of closed off because we're just focused on what's the thing that is wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
talking ourselves backwards as if we don't have the internal power and the authority to see clear and hear clear. We do, and we can. And sometimes it just takes someone to have the courage to say, this is what I've been through and this is how I got out of it, and you can do it too. My process might not be your process, but
Mm-hmm.
nonetheless, you can get out of it no matter what that situation is. If it doesn't bring you peace, if it doesn't complement where who you are and where you are going, and if it doesn't have a reflection of God, it's some you got to have some. What does your fruit look like? I appreciate the fact your honesty of when you said you did not get God's permission. I appreciate that truth
I
because
didn't.
so many of us miss that part. And I'm saying, even when you wake up in the morning, are you talking to God? Are you asking for
Before you
permission?
touch that phone, you definitely have to. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just appreciate your story. How that said, what's sad is that real love can present that way too. It
Mm-hmm.
will show up for you. You just have to listen. If the if I was watching, um, I was on Netflix last week, and I came across this show, Ruth and Boaz.
I've seen
And you seen it too?
it. Mm-hmm.
And it just but randomly. And so typically I wouldn't have watched it when in that moment, but for whatever reason I was compelled to when I seen it. And I'm glad that I did,
Mm-hmm.
because just listening to you out and reading that, it made me go back to that how Tyler Perry depicted that story of Ruth and Boaz, and how that plays out in real life. um how that toxic relationship, not Boaz, the other guy, for those of you who didn't see it, go watch it. He did a good job with illustrating that relationship, that black love.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who hadn't got your tickets yet, there on October the 17th, there is an event called Black Love. And I will recommend that you all tap in, get your tickets, go on IG, High Def Tone. As you click that follow button, get your tickets, because these are the kind of conversations that we need to begin to have in order to edify our community, to build to restore the family unit. We gotta get, in order to get to that place where we are striving for, we have to first be willing to tell the truth. And telling
Mm-hmm.
your truth does not mean tearing another person's down. Telling your truth does not mean hurting another person because you're hurt while you're telling your truth. Telling your truth does not mean you have to make other people accountable for what you think, feel, and believe, because you are responsible for that. I'm not saying to kill you, although you are responsible, but I'm speaking to everybody as a whole. At some point, we have to get to a place where we take ownership of our own growth and development, of
Mm-hmm.
our own healing. It is no one's responsibility, not your mother, not your father, not
Yes,
your
indeed.
sister, not your brother, not your children, not your spouse, not your lover, not your companion, not your boyfriend, not your girlfriend. It is no one's responsibility. It is yours. It is yours. What you think, feel, and believe belong to you. And
That's
if
true.
you
Definitely.
miss the step in your decision making, sometimes we find ourselves in situations and we're asking, how did I get here? But one thing that I appreciate about God that He oftentimes remind us is that I will turn all things that's going on, all that chaos, all that toxicity, all that stuff, I will turn all that stuff around for your good. I've seen it happen. I heard it on this evening. I don't know who you are on this evening. I don't know what you're struggling with. That's your business. But what I do know, that there's freedom in your voice. There is healing in your decision making.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pray that on this evening that you were blessed. Takia, I'm going to ask that you take a minute and you speak to that woman, you speak to that man who may find themselves in situations that they believe that they are unable to make the decision to do something different. Even with a job, you had to make a difficult decision to retire, to start. You had to, it had to take an amount of faith to be able to say, God, you know what, I trust you. I'm gonna resign and I'm gonna focus on my own business, and doing the thing that I love, doing the thing that I appreciate, that gets me moving. What would you say to that man or that woman?
Um, I would say the first thing, it starts with getting close to God. You got to get close to God. That's the first thing. And you got to have conversations with him. You got to tell him, you got to talk to him about what you want and ask for what you want. When God give you an assignment to go on, you got to move just like that. Don't wait, because the moment you wait, you can miss the opportunity. That's the first thing. You will miss the opportunity. So when God say move, you got to move, because even though I didn't know what I was going to do with mine, it was, everything was just falling into steps. So if God say, I'm gonna give you what you want, you just gotta move and do it, and I will give you all the tools. So He give you the tools. You just gotta go. Just go and let God Lead the way. Ask him to guide your steps and lead the way for you, show you the way, and he gonna show you the way. If he gave you an idea or vision to do something, or you got that download to do something, do it. Cause you're not getting it for no reason. If he gave you the idea, that means he gonna give you the recipe to it. He gonna give you everything you need, the tools and everything to do it. For me, I just was moving. And again, at first I wasn't thinking, I wasn't sitting still, I wasn't even healing. I was just moving along because I just didn't know until somebody said to me, I need you to sit still and start healing, because if you don't, it's going to take you out. And I did that. And as I did it, God was leading the way for me, guiding my steps. And as he guided my steps, I was getting downloads to do everything. And then not even only that, for me, God ended up he ended up showing me a lot. I learned a lot of stuff about me. I was moving along in this world, not even knowing who I knew who I was, but I really did not know who I was. I learned a lot on this journey, my healing journey. Now I'm on my spiritual journey. Everybody come to me think I am a healer. They talk to me and they just like, oh my God, like I need you to be my therapist. You don't need. I had somebody ask me, did I ever think about being a preacher? Didn't have I ever thought about being a therapist? I should open a daycare, and I'm just like, no, that's not what I want to do. But I don't mind talking to people and helping people. I will do whatever I can. But I learned who to do certain things for, because everybody cannot just go with you or be in my energy, your energy. You just gotta sit and you gotta talk to God. You gotta get to know you, because if you don't know you, you will be missing out on a lot of opportunities in your life. God is sending me places I didn't even think I was going to go. But the moment I got closer to him and started listening to him, he started giving me everything I needed. That man got me to where I'm at right now today. When I say I feel free, I am free. Free. I'm happy. I'm back at home to myself. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I could do whatever I want to do. And on this healing journey that I led me on to it, God sat me still because he wanted me to do. He wanted this for me. He needed me to hear him loud and clear. And I was turned in. I was hurt and I was turned in, but he told me he was going to put me back together. And he put me back together. I am at home now. When I say free, I'm free. It took me a while to get to where I'm at. I was waiting to get right here. And now I'm in the midst of celebrating after healing, because I'm just free and I love it. And I know who I am now. I really know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I like. I know when to say no. I know when I don't got to do whatever I want to do. Nobody don't get to run over top of me no more. I get to say no when I want to, because everybody thought that I was a yes person. Now the boundary set is like, oh, you changed. No, I did change. I changed for the better. I'm not the same person. I'm not the same person I was last year. I'm better than that same person now because I know who I am.
Wow, wow, you heard it, people. Right from
And if it's
Taki.
something you want to do, go to God. You're not stuck. If you feel like, if you want a relationship, a job, if if you feel like it ain't sitting right with you, you tired of it, it ain't treating you right, I don't mean no harm. People was asking me, "You left that house? You left?" Yes, I left that house because God told me He was gonna give it right back to me. I told my kids, "We about to leave. Give me 6 months. We gonna be good again." And after them 6 months, at 6 months, we was good again in our own house. God will
Thank you.
replace everything you lose or lost.
Yes, we definitely there's so many people in this community that can share that same testimony that
Mhm.
God definitely is in the business of restoration.
Mhm.
Definitely. And we appreciate it again. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. We thank you.
You
Um,
welcome. You was welcome.
and we celebrate with you. We loves to celebrate, honey. We celebrate with you on this evening. Can we just show express in the chat our appreciation and celebrate Tanika on this evening for just her obedience, just being willing to just surrender and to the one person who can bring you out of everything. Your choice. Your choice. All you gotta do is surrender that thing,
Yes,
and
indeed.
restoration is on the way. And so you will see Miss Takia again. I will interview her for real. Like I will do it just so that you could get to know her, the woman, and not her pain. not her struggles, because she is more than that. And so I believe in my heart that to get to know a person is to ask people questions. Um, and so we will do a part two only so that we can unpack some things, and so that Miss Takia can kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable with sharing her hope and her strength. But on tonight, yes, they are celebrating you in the chat. I
Oh,
appreciate
thank
y'all.
you all. Thank
I
you guys. Thank
appreciate
you.
y'all for showing up and showing out on this evening. And as yes, ma'am.
I was about to say I'm not for sure, but I know on I think I told you about it. I'm having a event November the 29th. It
Hmm.
is called the Celebration After Healing. It's going to be prayer. It's going to be it's going to be food. It's going to be prayers. It's going to be healing gift bags given out where you come and we will be writing some things out that we letting go. We're going to celebrate, dance because this is my celebration to myself. Last year I didn't do anything because again I was on my healing journey and God kind of stripped me away from people because He wanted me to go into isolation. But right now where I'm at, I'm free and I want to celebrate that. But I'll give you the information and I most definitely want you to come. You
Yes,
are
I will be
definitely
there.
invited. So you know,
I will be there in the building on the 29th. And yes, if you are free on the 17th, I personally will purchase your ticket so that you can come out and
I will.
experience. So yeah, I'll send you the flyer, but I personally, the pusher, will purchase your ticket.
Well, thank you.
For
You don't have to
um,
though. I could
I
purchase
know.
it.
This is when we want to, don't stop my blessing. Let me be, let
I
me do
appreciate it. Thank you. I
what it is
appreciate it.
that I do. Because in honor, because I want to celebrate you and I want to demonstrate that. And
Thank you.
by putting you in an environment that will complement where you are today, where we can
Thank you.
learn and have fun, all the things that you are saying now, I believe that your heart will be blessed. Um and it will put you in different to learn and meet different people, because the world is waiting on you. And as a community, this is what we do. We push one another in the direction you want to go in.
I
Because
appreciate that.
that's how we support. We have to at some point stop talking about it and just
Mm-hmm.
do it. Just
Mm-hmm.
do it.
That is true. That is
And so
true.
that's my love offering to you. But I
Thank
will
you.
send you the flyer. Um Yes, yes, yes. You in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We started on time, so I want to end on time. We will
Mm-hmm.
have Miss Takia back. And this is her process with the pusher. Her process is gonna be out loud. No secret. We're gonna be out loud. Because I want to help. I want to push her in the direction she desires to go in as it relates to healing out loud and doing things. She's the author,
Yeah.
sharing her story, and so I definitely want to
You know,
give
I wrote a
her
book too. I wrote my. You know, I'm
yes.
about to drop my book also.
Yes, so we will talk about all those things the
Mm-hmm.
next time we meet. Healing is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be
Absolutely.
willing to do the work. And I know on tonight I did less talking. Sometimes that is necessary. Sometimes you have to just allow people to be free. Um
Mm-hmm.
because if we tell the truth, we have been silent for so long. And so I am not one to interfere in anyone's process. So I know when to fall back and practice my right to remain silent. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, Miss Lamanda, forward ever, backwards never. You will get a gift from me. I will send you a love offering. I will text you only because you said it out loud in the chat. Forward ever, backwards never. The first one who did that. And so, yes, I will send you a love offering. I will text you because I got your number. And so, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. I don't even want to go. Y'all act like y'all don't want to go either. I could talk
Thank
to
you,
her
guys. Thank
forever.
you. It's nice meeting you all.
Listen, I'm getting her up off here because we will be talking for hours. So I got to get her off there. And plus, I don't want to keep her attention from her babies. But I will see you next week, same time, 6:30. Thank you for pushing forward with us. And remember, it's just like a movie. You never want to leave before the credits because you never know if you will
Mhm.
see your name. And with that said, I love you. And there is nothing to kid. Don't cut off. There is nothing, I mean, absolutely nothing you could do about it. Thank you for tapping in. Your presence here means so much to me. Yes, it do. Don't forget every Wednesday at 6:30 we are healing out loud. Bring a friend and tell that friend to bring another friend every Wednesday at 6:30. Meet me here. We are doing amazing work and I know I can't do what I do effectively without you. It takes one to know one.